This episode of the SloopCast is brought to you by the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company is an Ohio-based company located in Cary, Ohio, where they say our seasoning will take your barbecue from good to great. The Mad Canadian will be in Cary, Ohio this Wednesday and Thursday, this from 4 to 7 p.m. This Wednesday, he'll be at the corner of North and Patterson. And this Thursday, he'll be at the Shrine Cafeteria, again, from 4 to 7 p.m. So if you got no dinner plans, or heck, throw away your dinner plans and go get some of that Mad Canadian barbecue food. Check out his social medias to find out more information about him and his food truck and where he'll be. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, the official barbecue of the Cary High School Blue Devils.
This episode of the SloopCast is also brought to you by the Iron Bean Coffee Company. The Iron Bean Coffee Company is a premium, small batch, roast order, veteran-owned, Ohio-based, world-class, hand-roasted coffee company. All of their beans are fair trade certified and USDA organic. That means that their coffee's done the right way. All of that. That's what all of that means, is that that when a company takes responsibility, that responsibility doesn't happen in just one or two areas, that being a company that is based off of being integrity based, that is honor based, a company that does everything the right way. That means that they're also doing the customer, you, the right way, and that you're getting the best, freshest possible coffee. So you can experience that quality and that integrity for yourself by going to ironbeancoffee.com. That is Iron Bean Coffee, America's local coffee roaster.
How's it
What's
going,
up,
everybody?
So this is our Tuesday episode, which is, we're still recording it on a Sunday. Kyle and I are still wearing the same shirts that were on the Monday episode. Just we're not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. That's just how we do this. We're going to revisit our tier list. We're going to talk about some of the other games. If you're tuning into this wanting Ohio State content, that was the Monday episode. So we're going to cover sort of the national scope now. Still from an Ohio State lens, of course, but
it was a really good weekend of games here. So let's go ahead and hop into it and talk about these games.
We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the SloopCast. How are we doing today, Kyle?
I'm all right. How are you, Jared?
I think I have another burp coming, so just apologies in advance for that. That's how I'm doing.
All right, Jared. This is our Tuesday episode where we will talk about the national scope here. And I think this episode, it's Team Chaos came in the door ready to start taking teams here, but decided to be nice in the end.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as chaosy as it could have been. That's for sure. We still saw Michigan State take down Florida. Sparty for real? Question mark.
That is really strange here. Yeah.
And I know that Miami's not actually all that good, but we've seen the Spartans lose, or almost lose, or maybe even actually lose to like MAC schools in recent years. So Sparty rides again. Is that what we're seeing right now?
Maybe. I mean, how many teams were there? There was 1, 2, 3. I think there was 3 teams. Yeah, there was 3 teams that that Team Chaos took here. So let's go ahead and jump into. Let's start with the Big Ten news here. Jared mentioned Michigan State taking down Miami of Florida 38-17.
Kyle, I think it's time to jump into the tier list as well. So let's get that going. Gonna do this. Gonna do that. And I don't know what this is, so that's just gonna go away. And let's get we don't want to lose our live chat folk, even though I don't necessarily know where to put them. I'm putting them right on Kyle's face. What do you think about that? No?
Sure.
Okay. We'll put them down here. All right.
All right. All right. So let's kind of go down the list here, Jared, of what we have in our notes here. So Michigan State, where do we have Michigan State currently?
Currently at a C. I think it's time to move them to a B.
I think you got to move them out of B right now. They've had some good victories so far, especially now we have one over Miami here.
Now that we have one over a legit opponent, but the other two opponents, not so much. And do I think they stay at a B all season? Probably not. But I think they deserve to be a B right now.
Yep. All right. Oklahoma.
Do we drop Miami?
Win.
Miami.
Where's Miami?
Currently a D.
You can keep them at a D. You can keep them at a D.
Fair enough.
Oklahoma squeaks out a win over Nebraska, 23-16. Nebraska had a chance to win this here, and you're talking about a team. I know we covered in Monday's episode where have a lot of upset Buckeye fans here, not looking all that good. Oklahoma not looking all that good against a not that good Nebraska team.
Kyle, we already did the Ohio State game on the Monday episode. And one of the things I wanted to ask you before we got maybe too deep into this, does Ohio State continue to deserve to be in the A tier? But now I'm starting to wonder, does anybody? Let's look at our A tier right now. Clemson almost lost to Georgia Tech. Their offense is anemic. Oklahoma, Kyle just talked about it. Cincinnati, don't let that final score fool you. They barely beat Indiana, who's not all that good. Iowa is a new addition to the A tier. I think that they're a good quality team, but they're talently limited. I don't see them going above an A tier. We should probably move Penn State up into the A tier. I would say that, but
move Penn State. Yeah, move Penn State up there. We'll talk about that real quick. So Penn State beating Auburn 28-20 there. I thought.
Sorry, I don't want to jump into that game yet. I just want to look at this A tier of teams, including Ohio State and Oklahoma. I don't know who belongs in the A tier, right? What is the A tier right now? Because our S tier is Georgia, Georgia, Oregon, and Alabama, and I think that's pretty indisputable. I think there's a huge gap in between S and A right now. I think maybe is all I'm trying to say. I think there's a huge gap between the S tier and the A tier at the moment.
I think this early on, 3 weeks in, yeah, I think so too.
Okay, so we are going to keep Oklahoma, Clemson, Cincinnati, Ohio State in the A tier, but it's with acknowledgement that there's a huge gap between S and A. Is that
Nebraska?
Fair?
Yes. Now Nebraska, do you want to keep them down at the bottom of the list there?
No. F tier should be reserved for the worst of the worst, and I'm not saying they're good, but they're no longer the worst of the worst after a really nice showing against Oklahoma. So we'll bump them up to an E. I think we need to reserve that F tier for very bad football.
All right. So Cincinnati, as Jared mentioned, beats Indiana by 14, but that really was a lot closer game. Cincinnati just made it a 14-point victory there at the end. Cincinnati, I think you still keep them at the A tier. That's a quality win on the road, and they got Notre Dame coming up here, so they could possibly be just staying right there in the A tier the rest of this year.
We need to talk about Notre Dame's status in the B tier while we're at it. That's a lousy football team. I don't care. That's a lousy football team.
Mm-hmm. Notre Dame beats Purdue 27-13, and it was a lot closer. They got halftime. I think it was like 10-3, 10-7, something like that at halftime.
Yeah, and it should be noted that Purdue is like very bad. It's a very bad football team. And between that and their run-in with, was it Toledo, right? Last week with Notre Dame. I want to drop I don't know. It's not like the B tier is all that prestigious anyway. So maybe we can keep them there, but
I just keep them until they lose. Keep them until they lose.
well,
Right now.
I wouldn't say that, but we'll see what happens with Cincinnati. So Kyle, if we're reevaluating what the tiers mean, um, I think we need to maybe talk about Florida had a really nice showing against Alabama. I think they belong in the A tier.
Yeah, I put them in the A tier right now. They stuck to it. It could have been like Alabama could have just taken that to the just taken that away. Like it was 21-3.
Yeah.
At one point, and Florida just didn't curl up in a ball and just took it.
Lesser teams would have quit.
They fought back there. So yeah, I put Florida A right now.
But yeah, big respect for Florida for like going down 21-0 against Alabama. It's Alabama, and not folding and coming back and making that a game.
So let me ask you this, Jared, because it's got to be brought up. The team up north. Do they need to go up to the B tier? They're taking care of business as they should here. They're not playing all that quality of opponents, but they're taking care of business like they should. Their running game is really good. Their defense is looking pretty good here.
What's their best win so far?
Where you can move up, or you can move them up to the B tier?
What's their best win right now?
That is a good question. Maybe Washington.
I'm sorry, what? Washington, who's currently in our F tier?
Yeah.
Washington lost to an FCS school. They are punished to the F tier for the rest of the season. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Right, fine. We'll keep Michigan at C tier here. Minnesota shuts out Colorado, who Colorado almost beat Texas A&M the week before.
Transitive
does that
property.
Mean Minnesota? Does that mean Minnesota is better than Texas A&M?
We don't do the transitive property here.
I know.
But I do think it's a good. You talk about a team that could have, after losing their best player, could have crumpled, but they haven't. They keep fighting. This is a quality-ish win. Not that Colorado is currently in our E tier. It's not like Colorado's good. I'm not saying they are. It's probably. I'm comfortable with Minnesota at the B tier.
Okay. Let's see. We talked about Penn State moving up there, beating Auburn 28-20. Very solid win and a great win for the Big Ten Conference. You talk about some of the wins here that the Big Ten has. Win over the SEC. You have a win over the Pac-12. You have a win over the ACC this weekend here. It was a pretty good showing and could have been more. Purdue really fought in with Notre Dame. Indiana had a chance with Cincinnati, and Nebraska was right there with Oklahoma. It was a good showing overall for the Big Ten.
Big Ten lost 3 out of conference games this weekend. All of them close games, and all of them against top 10, or is Notre Dame top 10?
12.
All right, so but all against top 12 teams. None of those were good Big Ten teams. Like Indiana out of that is your best team, and they're going to finish what in the Big Ten East this year? 4th?
Yeah, maybe. Yep.
So that's your best. They're going to finish 4th in the Big Ten division. And that was your best team in those specific 3 out of conference games. They all 3 almost won them against top 12 opponents. Those are quality losses for teams at the point in development that those 3 teams are.
Mm-hmm. Don't look now, Jared. But we could. I'm looking at who they play next here. Yeah, actually, it is this weekend. Don't look now, Jared. We got undefeated Rutgers taking on Michigan this weekend.
That'll make it into the Sloop picks. Make sure to listen on Friday. We'll talk about that game. I'm pretty sure.
Let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the the games outside the Big Ten after our sponsors.
Yeah, let's do that. Kyle, Iron Bean Coffee Company. Where'd my show notes go? I lost it. Iron Bean Coffee Company is an Ohio-based, out of Perrysburg, which is near Toledo, Ohio, coffee company. Let's talk about some of their dark roast coffees, because I already told you about all the integrity and why you should buy from them. Let's talk about some of the coffees. There's the Fierce, which is a dark roast coffee made with 100% Arabica beans. It'll give you the edge and the confidence to slay your day. There's the Rocco, which is available in both medium and dark. It's a special Ethiopian blend. It's just the coffee that like insists on being noticed. It's an excellent coffee. There's the Integrity. I told you about how this is an integrity-based company. Well, they named one of their coffees Integrity, as a matter of fact. This is their flagship roast. If you're an espresso drinker, they recommend you use these beans. But Kyle, I think my favorite dark roast is probably the Drink from the Skull of Your Enemy, which is a traditional Indonesian coffee. It's smoky, it's creamy, it's got like notes of cedar and tobacco and wine and spice. It's so many of the things I love wrapped up into a coffee. That's probably my favorite of the dark roast. I know that we have some Odin loyalists in our Discord who absolutely love the Odin, which is another dark roast. And don't forget about the Fear No Evil. If you're like, dark roasts are nice, but you know what I want, Kyle? I want a black roast. I want darker than dark. Well, sir, I have for you the Fear No Evil. But you can find those coffees and a bunch more coffees over at ironbeancoffee.com. That is Iron Bean Coffee, America's local coffee roaster.
This episode is also brought to you by our good friends over at the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company. Mad Canadian Barbecue Company has a food truck that we've been mentioning for the past few months now. Great reviews. I've heard from numerous of family and friends who live up in the Northwest Ohio area. Absolutely loves the food truck that the group has up in that area. They tend to stay in the north part of Ohio, so trying to convince them to come to Central Ohio. So if you keep at him on social media, just keep nagging him to come to Central Ohio. Hopefully he can make a trip here one of these times. But for this week, he'll be staying home in Cary this Wednesday and Thursday, 4 to 7 p.m. Wednesday, he'll be on the corner of North and Patterson. And this Thursday, he'll be at the Shrine Cafeteria, again, from 4 to 7 p.m. So come hungry, come get some great barbecue from the Mad Canadian Barbecue Company, where they are the official barbecue of the Cary High School Blue Devils.
Kyle, since we're starting to talk outside the Big Ten here, I think it's time to drop Virginia Tech. I think that their win over North Carolina probably said more about North Carolina than it did about them. And with that same sweeping motion, probably move West Virginia up, who beat Virginia Tech and did so, I think, more convincingly than the final score indicates. So I think, I think they both belong in C.
Yep, I'm good with that. I am good with that. Moving on here, Texas A&M.
I'll have to work on that.
There you go. Texas A&M takes care of business over at New Mexico. I think they stay at a B tier there.
Yeah,
I don't have an issue with them staying at the B team.
No, that's fine.
Coastal Carolina, that Jared had to make up here, squeaks by the Buffalo Bulls 20-25. I keep them at the C tier there.
Yeah, I know they're incredibly highly ranked, but beat someone and don't struggle against a really bad MAC school. Then we'll move you up.
Clemson beats Georgia Tech 14-8. There was a long weather delay that happened down in South Carolina, but it still was a slow game there for Clemson as they only put up 14 points. But their defense is still pretty good. Still pretty good there. So do they stay in the A tier?
Yeah, again, there's a huge gap between S and A right now. Everyone in A is incredibly flawed. Cincinnati doesn't have the talent. Oklahoma's inconsistent on offense. Clemson has struggled on offense. Ohio State struggling on defense. Everyone in A tier is flawed. That's just how we have to acknowledge that and move forward.
All right. We already talked about Florida, but they put up a valiant effort to Alabama, losing 31-29. We moved Florida up to A. Alabama stays there at A. No changes there.
Alabama's an S.
Yeah. Yes. Arkansas.
And yes, Buckeye Zach. Alabama should remain at S. I think to suggest they should drop is incredibly disrespectful of how well Florida played.
Mm-hmm. Arkansas beats a Georgia Southern team. Wherever you have Arkansas, you can just keep them where they're at. Georgia takes care of business over South Carolina, 40-13. Keep them where they're at. North Carolina beats Virginia in a high-scoring affair, 59-39. I still like North Carolina's offense, so I'd keep them at the B tier there.
Okay.
I'm not sure where you have Virginia at.
I don't even have them on the chart.
I don't even have them ranked there. If you want to keep them unranked, that's fine. If you want to rank them, I'd probably put them at like E tier or something like that.
As long as you didn't say C, because C is getting full.
All right. Let's see. Oregon takes care of business from Stony Brook.
Yeah, no change.
No change there. Ole Miss beats Tulane 61-21. Is Ole Miss a team that we need to pay attention to?
I'm sorry, who'd they beat?
Tulane, who gave Oklahoma a run for their money last week.
Oh, well, let's be honest. That says a hell of a lot more about Oklahoma at the moment, who nearly lost to Nebraska.
Okay. All right, where do you have Ole Miss at right now?
Where do I have Ole Miss at right now? I have them at a C. We can move them up to a B if you want to.
Yeah, you can move them up to a B. They're ranked 13th right now. Yeah, we'll see how Ole Miss does here in the coming weeks. BYU beats Arizona State. You can keep BYU where they're at right now.
Oh, it's a D tier though.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you can move them up to C.
It's not getting into C tier shouldn't be that difficult, really.
All right. Iowa State takes care of UNLV 48-3.
They're fine where they're at.
I think Iowa State's a really good team. I don't quite see where you have them. I think they should be at the B tier if they're not.
Yeah, Iowa State's B tier.
All right, here's a team I think that we need to move down though. UCLA losing to Fresno State 40-37. So where do you have UCLA? Is it like up there at B tier?
Yeah, B.
So do you think you should move them down to C, maybe potentially D tier?
Oh, not the D. Fresno, I think you're... I'm not saying they should have lost to Fresno. I'm not trying to make a Fresno's good actually sort of case, but they did perform incredibly well against Oregon. But they also played Cal Poly and Connecticut in the other two games. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to say because they played two real games. They beat UCLA. And they played really, really well. They played better against Oregon than we played against Oregon, Kyle. I kind of don't want to disrespect Fresno like that, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right, fine. That's fine with you.
I mean, I'll still move them down to UCLA down to the B tier, but I'm not moving, the C tier, but I'm not moving down any further than that.
All right. So some of the other teams we have not talked about. Let's see. We talked to everybody. The SAB looks like. LSU, we haven't talked about. They beat a directional Michigan team 49-21. I think they stay in the C tier. Yep, I think they stay there in the C tier.
Let me ask, what's LSU's best win currently? I think I don't know if they belong in C.
Yeah, no, that is a good question. Yeah, their best is actually probably this one here, Central Michigan, because their only other victories against McNeese.
We're moving them down to D tier.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Wisconsin, I do not believe they played this weekend.
I don't believe so, no.
Arizona State lost.
Should we move them down to a D tier?
I think you should move them down to a D tier. Yep. Maryland and Rutgers won. We talked about all those other teams in the C tier. So the D tier there.
By the way, Indiana, I think became like a bubble C tier team that maybe could have been a D tier team, and now they're a solid C tier for whatever that's worth to anybody.
Let's see. Texas shuts out Rice 58-0. Texas can stay where they're at. Purdue. You want to keep Purdue at D, or do you think Purdue is just not that good and you need to move them down to E, or do you think they should stay at D just because of their valiant efforts against Notre Dame?
I think D's fine. I just think Notre Dame's not very good, honestly. I think we're 1 week away from moving Notre Dame down into the C tier because I think Cincinnati's going to take it to them. I think Cincinnati's going to take it to them hard, as a matter of fact. So I think Notre Dame's just renting their status in B territory right now.
Okay.
That problem will fix itself.
USC off to a slow start, kind of like Ohio State, but just dominated Washington State in the second half, 45-14. I think you can keep USC at D. I think Miami, you can keep them at D. Utah.
Well, we just moved Miami to D for what it's worth.
I think Utah, you might want to move down to E tier now. Utah now losing 2 games in a row. They lost in triple overtime to San Diego State.
San Diego State? Utah,
where their best win now is against Weber State. So move them down to E tier. Right now.
Kyle, are you looking at the graphic right now? Because I'm flirting with this. I'm flirting with the F tier right now.
All right, you do you. You do you.
I don't. No. It's a group decision.
I said put them in E. Put them in E for right now. They're at the bottom of the E.
Buckeye Zach, we already moved BYU up from D to C tier.
Yeah. All right. Who else we got there?
Stanford.
Did they play? I didn't even see. They beat an SEC team. They can stay at the D tier.
Vanderbilt?
They beat Vanderbilt. Yes.
I just assumed. It was a total guess. Yeah, that's fine.
Didn't Pitt lose? Yeah, Pitt lost to Western Michigan. Move Pitt down to like F tier. Like who has Pitt? Oh, they did beat Tennessee. Okay, they did beat Tennessee, so you can keep them at E tier there.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. It's not like E tier is exactly elite status anyway.
Yeah.
And we just moved Arizona State and LSU down here.
All right, I think that's there. We had Virginia at E, Northwestern. Northwestern. They started coming back, but couldn't beat Duke this weekend. Northwestern's best win is Indiana State, but they lost to Michigan State and Duke. I think you keep them there.
Okay.
Keep them there at F. At E. Yeah, keep them there at E.
Mississippi State, is this too rough on Mississippi State? They belong in D.
I don't even know who they played. Do you know who they played? Anybody know?
Memphis, and they lost. I mean,
they lost to Memphis. Yes, yeah. Move Mississippi State down.
Memphis is a good team, and like, let's not disrespect Memphis. They're basically the equal of Cincinnati the past 2 years. Let's not.
All right, fine.
I'm just saying, don't disrespect Memphis like
that. You're right. You're right. All right, NC State takes care of business over Furman. They can stay where they're at.
Your status doesn't change over a game with Furman one way or the other.
Yeah. Tennessee stays where they're at. Colorado stays where they're at. Nebraskans stay where they're at, and the others we kept them there. And then down in the F
Nebraska,
tier,
Utah, and Pitt are all new additions to the tier.
Yep. Nebraska. No, I'm sorry, Illinois. Moving on, Illinois.
Yeah, they lost again.
They lost again. They're now 1-3 for the year. Oregon State's bad. Florida State 0-3. Washington's not good, and Kansas is just bad.
All right, Kyle. Should we introduce anybody to the list that we don't yet have added to the list? For example, Georgia Tech had a decent showing against Clemson. Duke won a game. We were just talking about Memphis. I think we can.
Georgia Tech's best win, who also lost to Northern Illinois. Their best win is against Kennesaw State.
Okay, you've made your point. I'm going to introduce him to the chart, but I'm going to put him at E. Kyle, what about Kentucky? Did Kentucky have a real crap showing against Tennessee Chattanooga this weekend?
They almost lost to Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Tennessee is 3-0.
Who's their best win?
But their best, Missouri. Which Missouri's 1-1 with not a. Excuse me. I'm sorry. No, they're 2-1, where their best win is a directional Michigan team.
We're gonna go ahead and introduce Missouri and Kentucky both to the E tier. Anyone else? Should we put Tulsa on the list since Ohio State just played them? Maybe as another E tier team.
You can put them at E though. Yep.
What do you think, guys? Anyone who you're seeing currently down here who we should introduce to the list? Didn't Louisville have a nice win this weekend?
Yeah. Well, they beat UCF. Yeah, they beat UCF this weekend.
Yeah, let's throw Louisville on the list. What are you thinking? Like a D tier?
They are 2-1 with their only loss to Ole Miss. So yeah, you can put them at D. You can put it from D. I'm fine.
Just because we haven't introduced them to the list yet, Stuart. Kyle, what's Army done so far?
Army put up 52 points against UConn.
Yeah.
Which is probably their best win. Either that or Western Kentucky.
Western Kentucky's probably a better win, if we're being honest. See, I think that's why, yeah. Stuart, I feel like you might be biased, Mr. E4 US vet. It's just that they haven't played anyone of real note. Like, we don't necessarily know what to do with them. That's all.
Yeah. And also, like all these other teams, I know we're over the 30-minute mark right now. All these other teams, maybe they'll make it onto our list, but nobody that I'm really worthwhile to talk about. Yeah, you can move UCF there, but
whatever.
I don't. Yeah, maybe some of these other teams might make it to the list here, but we'll keep adding to this as our weeks go on here. But Jared, that is all here. Didn't really get any questions for the national scope here, but I think that's probably for the best as we are over on time as usual.
Per normal. All right. So do I go into my thing here then?
Yes.
Actually, can I do one more thing real quick? Let's take a look at the Oklahoma State Cowboys before we do that. Let's take a look at the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They had a 1-point win this weekend over Boise State, and Boise's not who Boise once was by any means. They are currently they barely won against Tulsa, which, okay, irony acknowledged. Barely won against Missouri State. Barely won against a Boise team who, like, we're no longer in that, hey, Boise's actually good stage. So dear Oklahoma State, I congratulate you. I have deemed you the worst 3-0 team in the country. welcome to E tier. And I feel like you're renting space there, if we're being honest. Okay, Kyle, that's it. That's the end of the episode. So, let me jump back into this view. All right. Want to encourage everyone to check out the sloopcast.com. There you can find all of our social media stuff, our Twitters and Instagrams and all that. Come join the Discord. We're having tons of fun in the Discord. I'm tweeting less and less and less, and that's because I'm hanging out in the Discord instead. It's a lot of fun. It's heavily moderated. We do a lot of work to protect our culture over there. So it's, yes, Gangland, we do a good job there. Gangland, one of our moderators. That was supposed to be temporary, but I've just not taken it away from him yet. So yeah, come join the Discord. We've received a few new Patreons lately. I actually don't know if they. I'll just say that they're Illinois Buckeye and Buckeye Esquire in our Discord server. I don't know if they want me saying their actual names or not, so I'll just address them by their Discord names. And yeah, come. It's only $3 a month, and that gives you full access to literally everything. In as far as the Discord server goes, so it's $3 a month. You can pay for 12 months up front, and it's like $32 because there's a little bit of a discount if you pay for 12 months up front. So if you don't, just like, oh, I don't want to have even if it's just $3, I don't want to have a monthly recurring thing on my credit card, even if it's only $3, because that's annoying. I get it. You can just do one big $32 purchase for the entire year. So it's pretty easy. It's just, like I said, it's sloopcast.patreon.com. That's absolutely the wrong address. Ignore that I just said that. Patreon.thesloopcast.com. It's $3 a month, $32 for an entire year. Come join us. That's all I'm saying. And then if you just want to check out the Discord server, just as a free trial, because the server is mostly free. It's mostly a free server. Just check out discord.thesloopcast.com. If you don't know what Discord is, it's kind of like, it's like a casual version of like Microsoft Teams or Slack or something like that. It's an organized chat program. So, Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
I did see early on, Jared. Buckeyes are a 53. That's 5-3 point favorite over Akron.
Akron's bad. Akron's very bad. I said it. I think I said it in the Discord server somewhere. Akron is by far not even close. Like not even a conversation. The worst team we're going to play this year. So just for whatever it's worth, I think we will finally see like Kyle McCord take some snaps this weekend. Not start. Don't even with me. Not start, but we're going to see Kyle McCord take some snaps. Anyway, we'll talk about that on the Thursday episode. So come listen to us break down everything you need to know about the Akron Zips. No, not really.
Yeah. Akron did lose to Auburn, as we mentioned earlier, did lose to Auburn 60-10. Just want to keynote there.
Fair enough.
Right, that's it, Jared.
All right, Kyle, remember a couple of weeks ago, remember when I played Hawthorne Heights on the show?
Uh-huh.
We're going to do it again. You want to know why we're going to do it again? Because they have a new album out. So we're going to a partial blast from the past, in that the band's a blast from the past, but it's a new album. I don't know which song I'm going to play yet. I'll figure that part out later. But this is from the new Hawthorne Heights album. I haven't pre-listened to this yet. It just came out. It just came out last week, so we'll find out together if it's any good or not. And with all of that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Hawthorne Heights.